Hey, what's up, everybody? This is KG from Draw 7. Welcome to a brand new episode. I know it's been a while. I'm glad to be back here. And for today's episode, I have two wonderful special guests here today that we're going to be interviewing and talking about their NIC run at New Orleans. Of course, this couple of weeks ago or last week, we had the biggest international championship for North American at Louisiana, New Orleans. And today I want to welcome Toni and Catherine here today on the stream. So thank you, ladies, for both being here. These are two wonderful people that made day two from the RGB, and if I actually can remember and be accurate, they were the only two people from the RGB to make day two, or much less South Texas. We can't confirm that, but I can bet my money that's probably the way it is. So I have these two wonderful people today. Toni, go ahead and say hello to everyone out there.
Hey everyone, Toni.
Okay, and then Catherine, go ahead and say hello to everybody out there to the RGB.
Hi, it's Catherine here. Thanks, Kevin, for having me.
Not a problem. All right, so we're going to go ahead and just talk about the overall experience of New Orleans. But before we do that, we're going to go ahead and get a little insight on these two wonderful players. So Toni, why don't you tell everybody out there how you got into Pokemon and how long you've been playing?
Sure. I went to the San Antonio Regional 2 years ago. My brother wanted to go, and when I was there, I did like a little learn how to play Pokemon TCG little side event they had. Learned how to play, came back, was like, oh, this is really fun. I got lent a Lost Tina deck, and I built it when I came back, started playing, and yeah, that was like in January of last year, so that's when I started playing.
Cool, awesome. So you've been playing more or less about a year or so, pretty much.
A little over a year and a half now, yeah.
Year and a half, cool, okay. And Catherine, same question to you. How long have you been playing Pokemon?
So I would say about a year. I started getting into the game with my son Liam. He loves collecting Pokemon card, and so during COVID, we started learning how to play Pokemon using the board game, the Pokemon board game.
Okay.
And we found our local shop, Cascade. We went to that March of last year, and the shop owner, Marco, built me the easiest deck to play, which was Charizard. And our first time there was for a tournament, and all we did was attach pass and watch in awe as our opponent do 10 things in their turn. And thought, oh, this is actually a way cooler card game than we thought. You know, there's a lot more that you can do and a lot more you can learn. So yeah, I would say about a year. I still play with my son.
Cool. Awesome. And if anything, what's so cool about these two players, everyone, is that these two players come from totally two different backgrounds, but their stories are very unique because or very similar because they both made day two, and if you heard from both of them, they pretty much for a year or two have been playing the card game. So it's fascinating to see what Pokemon and the card game has done for the community, and much less to Toni and Catherine. And I think it's awesome because Catherine and Toni are from two different areas of the RGB, pretty much. And so it's just so unique to see that these two players, also, no surprise, Toni and Catherine do know each other. And actually, if you don't mind me asking, we'll start with Toni. Toni, when did you actually meet Catherine?
I met her at Cascade. I think I remember when she started playing with her son Liam. So I'm pretty sure I met her pretty much as she started playing, like at least within a month or so. Yeah.
And Catherine, do you remember when you met Toni?
Yes, I actually knew Toni as a Cascade player. So that's, yeah. I initially only go to Cascade to play. That's, right. Our local. Go there every Thursday. Yeah.
Right. And so, and just a little information to the community, at least from what I noticed, is that once we got to the regionals grind and NIC, Catherine doesn't know this, but I took notice. Or maybe she does, but I took notice, she would bring the Brownsville community to Kaboom at some point, they all carpool and they go there to get some matches, for practice. And it was cool to see that camaraderie from Toni and Catherine, because there would be times that Catherine would be like, hey, Kevin, I'm going to go ahead and drop. But then, like, Catherine would go watch Toni matches, you know, and then probably ask Toni a bunch of questions about Dragapult or just the matches in general. So it was cool to see that it's cool to see people learn from each other, much less Catherine, because I took notice that, I don't know, Catherine, you did that a lot, right? Quite often, like when you went to Kaboom every now and then, you would like, okay, you know what, let me go watch Toni play. Were you playing the same deck as Toni at the time? No, right? You were playing a complete different deck, or you were still playing Dragapult, right?
Yes, I was playing Dragapult, and yes, if you didn't bring it out, I was gonna bring it out. Thank you so much, Toni, for allowing me to learn from you. Yes, I think I learned a lot just watching other players play. You know, what are they doing differently to what I'm doing? I have my little notepad with me. I ask lots of questions. Sometimes, you know, people ask, what exactly do I write in my notepad? You know, it's all sorts of things that I learn. Yeah, I think I'm such a new player that I can learn something from every player that I watch.
Awesome.
But I specifically love watching Toni, because Toni's such an amazing Dragapult player.
Cool. And of course, Toni, being as selfless as she is, she would allow Catherine to watch her matches at the end, and it was always cool to see that camaraderie going on. So it was nice to see that. So Toni, I don't know if you want anything to add to that.
No, it's just, of course. Catherine is really nice, and I love talking about Pokemon, so I would love talking about matches afterwards, or I did like my thought process throughout the turns. So yeah, I love when Catherine would come watch. It was great to kind of go through my own mentality as well, to see what I'm maybe doing wrong.
Great, awesome. So with that being said, that's kind of going up to my next topic, because what's so cool about these two players, everybody, is that if you already heard these two players, if you combine the experience of them playing the TCG card game of Pokemon, it's practically less than 5 years I've been playing. You know, I've been playing since 2010, or even playing longer, and you don't see me with the day two, right? So, and that's kind of cool to see that, because the lesson that needs to be taken from both these two players is that they weren't fixed on, you know, I need to win this tournament, you know, I need to make a day two. They were both just always trying to improve. And that's like the first thing you have to realize, is that you have to, if you want to get better at this card game, or just in card games in general, you have to just ask yourself, okay, how do I improve? And, you know, they both did that really well. Of course, they would also practice, you know, with their respective testing group or their community back in Brownsville or at Donna Stronghold. And, you know, and that's all they were just worried about, just how do I improve and what can I do better? And certainly it took them very far this season, because they made a day two. And mind you, like, this is a very competitive tournament, because there's a lot of prize at stake, and there's over at least 4,000 players at this tournament. So chances are you run into somebody that's going to play this pretty seriously. Chances are you are. So it's pretty neat to see these two wonderful players to improve and to kind of just not depend on each other, right? But just kind of grind it out and get some games in, and pretty much I'm sure they were definitely happy with the results at day two. And hopefully in the future, you know, they can gladly do the same results or even doing better, and who knows, you know, this is a great opportunity. So it's just neat to see two players improve, get better, and then they have their results for NIC. So with that being said, before we kind of go into their matches, we'll start with Toni. Toni, overall, your NIC experience, Pokemon Center, friends, you know, side events, everything, the tournament itself. Any thoughts on how your experience was for this NIC this past 2 weeks ago, week ago?
No, I had a lot of fun. I mean, I've probably never played so much Pokemon in one weekend. My first NAIC last year, I think I played 6 rounds and dropped. San Antonio, I think I played 8 rounds and dropped. So playing 13 rounds, even over 2 days, best of 3, was just a lot mentally. I didn't get to do this. I didn't get to do too many side events. I think I just did one side event on Sunday. but they were always fun. I like the side events. I like the structured ones are always really nice. But even my opponents, they were all great people. I didn't have any issues like with anybody arguing with me. I'd have to call a judge for any altercation, judges for misplays or whatever, but nothing for like somebody getting upset. So I had overall, I would say, a good experience. My friends I met with over there were great. So I would say overall, great experience.
Cool. Awesome. Okay, and same question to you, Catherine. How was your NIC experience? And overall, as far as side events or vendors or Pokemon Center or friends, just talk about your experience overall.
Yeah, and NAIC was super fun and interesting. It was my first IC, my third major, and it was also my first time visiting New Orleans. So
Okay.
I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. It was my first IC, like I said, and I didn't expect it to be as festive because compared to the other two regionals that I've been, it's larger, definitely. The weather was warm and sunny in New Orleans, which is more than, what I could wish for because it had been raining. And so I was able to walk everywhere. I was able to walk from my hotel to the convention center, so that was really convenient. I enjoy looking at the historic downtown, cool architecture, lots of cool restaurants. And then second half of the trip, my daughter actually joined me there.
Oh, that's cool.
To fangirl over Pokemon Unite's team, Luminosity Gaming. And so, I just did that with her, watched the Championship Sunday, Pokemon Unite. We did some fun side events, the play lab, the origami, the coloring. She enjoyed visiting the Pokemon Center and vendors, got herself a little plushie. It was definitely a great experience.
Cool, that's awesome, and that's kind of neat that you got to spend time with your daughter there at the events. So yeah, and this goes to anybody out there. If you plan on going to a major tournament, even if you're not into the card game, it's always cool. It's always cool to just go to the North American International Championships. Like Catherine said, they do have regionals throughout the year. And they're as big, but they, as far as vendors and events and side events and even Pokemon Center, it doesn't get any better than going to an actual IC. Majors or regionals are just as cool, but ICs are just as important and bigger. They have the Latin American, the European, the Oceanic, and then I believe they have the North American. And in the past, the North American used to be in Columbus, Ohio, or sometimes Indiana. And I believe Pokemon has locked up a contract with the Louisiana Convention Center for the next 4 years. So we're already on year 2. So I believe next year and the following year, it's going to be pretty much there again. So I myself didn't go last year. I went this year, and I was really impressed with the event. And like I was telling Tony a couple days ago, the Pokemon Center has grown enormously as far as the time slots. It just used to be a vendor itself, hey, look at this wall and buy the shirts and all that, and eventually it just became this big event itself just to get a time slot. Tony, did you get a chance to go into the Pokemon Center or not really?
I did. I went on Thursday, so I went a little bit before the tournament started because I knew I wasn't gonna probably get a chance to go Friday. And maybe Saturday if I didn't, if I made it to day 2. So I was making sure I got it on Thursday.
Cool. And then Catherine, did you get a chance to go to the Pokemon Center? I think you did say that in your...
Yeah. So I got lucky. I didn't know what Pokemon Center reservation was, but I have groups of friends who told me to get the Thursday slot. So I did go and get what I wanted.
Oh,
yeah.
Cool. Yeah. I myself didn't reserve a slot at all, but I just kind of I just knew, like Catherine said, everyone has a slot, because to anyone out there, when you get a reservation slot, you get to take, I guess, 3 people in, 3 guests. So I just kind of bummed off of 1 or 2 people's reservation, and they were nice enough to let me, and I just did that and got my fix. But now I know for next year because I guess I was using old knowledge. Well, I could just walk in, but then when I checked when I got there on Wednesday, I was like, oh wow, there's actually no slots. The last one was Sunday at 5. I'm like, nope, no thank you, I'm not doing that. So, but now you know for next year. So, all right. So with that being said, let's kind of move on to the. We'll go to the deck list, And so we'll start, and we'll say it as short as possible, that we can get to the matches. But looking at both their deck lists and their deck selection, both these two wonderful ladies did go with the Dracopult as part of their deck list, but each of them went a different route as far as the other Pokemon is, so their support, or another attacker in this case, for Catherine. So Toni went the Dracopult Dusknoir route, and Catherine went the Dracopult Charizard route. So we'll go ahead and do Toni's first, and I'll get out Toni's list out there in the center. It should appear. And so Toni, just kind of talk to us a little bit about why you decided to go the Pult Dusknoir route for this tournament, and if you had any last minute changes or you thought you were going to pivot to another deck. But just talk to us about your overall selection, why you picked the deck, and why you stuck with it.
Well, my first instinct was it was the deck I was most comfortable with. It was the deck I'd played like the last 2 months with. I'd been winning cups with it, so I was pretty familiar with it. So I kind of considered Charizard Dusknoir. I played with it a little bit in person, more online just to test it out. And I knew it was a good deck. It just was between Dusknoir, Dragapult, and Dragapult Charizard. I'm just more comfortable with the Dusknoir line. I just like the versatility and the options late game. I never feel like I need the big hitter Charizard personally. Mm-hmm. Some options I did consider for the deck list was keeping in Shaman or Ursaluna. Ursaluna was kind of annoying just to open it with it, but it is very helpful late game if I need it. I think I won just 2 games cuts of it, so I mean it definitely came in handy. The Shaman actually ended up not coming in handy at all, even in the Rage Bolt matchups. Just never came up. The few times it could have been useful, I just couldn't find it, so I'm testing it out without it, and it's kind of just been fine. But yeah, those are kind of my deck options where I was kind of considering when I was building the deck. And I knew I was going to put a Jamming Tower in there. I know not everyone's running Stadiums, but Jamming Tower is just always part I've always been comfortable with in Dragapult. It just helps you fix numbers. It definitely won me games. I played a random Crustle matchup, and I wouldn't have won the matchup without that card. So I mean, it had like 2 or 3 matchups where I needed the card, and it came in handy.
Okay. Cool. And I know you're talking about Blood Moon Ursaluna. Were you kind of hesitant as well because of the Team Rocket Stadium? I know that kind of also puts a dent in it because it stops Blood Moon from attacking. So
I did consider that, but that card just didn't seem that common, and I knew if I was going to run Jamming Tower, I always was going to have a Stadium bump late game if I needed to. And Jamming Tower is a card you don't play unless it's their last turn or 2, so it's not something that I'm wasting early generally.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely. And also looking at your deck list, we do have it on the screen. I know it's a set of you have the Jacques instead of the Brock. Did you ever run Brock before, or tell us about like what would you prefer?
Yeah, over the past 2 months, I've tested Brock instead of Jacques. I kind of switched between like Jacques and Brock. I found that it wasn't too hard to set up the Dreepies early game. Mm-hmm. You were generally finding an Arven, or you were finding an Iono. You're just finding the Buddy Poffins, the Dreepies up. The bigger problem was finding the Dracloaks to kind of get the game going, and I found Jacques just kind of did everything better. Jacques a better late game card. I am happy to get Jacques late game to get Dusclops, Dusknoirs, or Dragapults, maybe combo of both. So I just found Jacques was a better late game card than Brock, although I know Brock can set up early. I just felt like the deck didn't have a hard time setting up on the most part.
Oh, okay. And then also just kind of looking at your list, I see 2 stretchers. At any given point, were you thinking of 3? Did you cut 1, or did you use 3? Or tell us your...
If I could have fit one more card, it would have been a 3rd stretcher, just because there's 2 research in there, and sometimes just Ultra Ball something away, you research something away you really want. So the fact I was only running 2 meant I had to be just very careful with the stretchers. Like, I could not waste it if I knew I was going to need a resource later. So if I could have added another card, it would have been a stretcher. I just couldn't find the space for it, basically.
Mm-hmm. Right. Cool. So you heard that, folks. Pretty much Toni, her deck selection process was pretty much go what you're comfortable with, and she has been playing Dracopult Dusknoir for the last 2 months. And so when you're that comfortable, that means that you are confident, and when you're confident, you know the lines of plays against your matchups. So yeah, that's pretty much your deck selection. I noticed you kind of still stuck with the two, Tony, the two Dragon Ball EXs. I kind of chickened out and went with 3 and cut off the baby and cut off a Dustnor for it, because I was just any game I was just trying to dig for that last Dragon Ball EX, and I was like, man, okay, I need the third one. Like this is not cutting it. So bravo to you for keeping 2. I chickened out at the end and did 3, and I think I cut like one of the Dustnors. But how did Monkey Dory fare for you? I noticed you have that and 3.
Monkey was essential, especially in Dragon Ball mirrors. You need the Monkey Dory. It just helps you fix just numbers for them. A lot of times they're trying to map out how they're going to get the win. Monkey Dory can kind of mess with it, so it makes it so they don't have a win condition near the end of the games. So I would say Monkey Dory is really essential in the Dragon Ball mirrors. I didn't get to play too many. I think I played only 3 Dragon Ball mirrors.
Okay.
But the matchups those are the matchups you need it for, and it comes in handy a lot for sure.
Cool. Okay, and before we go on to Catherine, is there anything, as far as post-tournament, is there any changes you would have done now that you kind of had this experience? Were there any changes you would make to the deck in hindsight now, or?
I would have probably not put Shaman. Instead of a Shaman, I would have just put a Lux Cape. I feel like that would have just got whatever I needed to get done more. Shaman just kind of never quite did what I need to do. And the matchups were been helpful. It just didn't do enough. So I would probably have cut Shaman, maybe put a Lux Cape. Maybe I've cut an XP share for a more useful tool or something. Maybe a third Night Stretcher, because the XP share also didn't come in too much handy. Yeah, maybe that's how I would have changed it.
Okay, cool. All right, so you heard it, everyone. You heard Toni's thought process and her deck selection. And like I said, all this information, we're so spoiled as a community, is on Limitless. So if you ever want to check out Catherine's or Toni's deck list, or any other deck list for that matter, feel free to go on Limitless and just click on tournament page, and then you can find the list of players. So we're so spoiled that we have all this information for us free. Like before, there used to be no information back then, and then when it was available, it was a paywall. And now it's just become accessible. So it's a good and bad thing. A good thing because there's so many there's so much resources to new players as far as deck construction. But then the fallback is everyone else knows that information too. So kind of interesting to see that. So okay, so that is Toni's deck list. We're gonna go ahead and jump to Catherine's deck list. So we're gonna kind of put that away and get out Catherine's deck list. So Catherine, we see that you are rocking with the Dracopult Zard deck with Monkey Dory and Fez and Clef and Chiyu. So talk to us about your thought process on why you went with this deck and pretty much the cards that you went with for the tournament for NIC.
Sure, I'll be happy to. But firstly, that was so insightful, Toni, and I apologize in advance that my analysis is not going to be as in-depth as Toni's. I can't even take credit for this list of 60. My coach Kieran Farah helped me with it. I believe the original list was out of Japan, and it had...
Okay. Catherine, if you're speaking, we can't hear you. You want to say it again? Sorry, it cut off there for a second.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. So I was comfortable playing Pult because that was the only other deck that I know I'm comfortable playing after Charizard. So I played Pult, slow Pult, Thanos built in Atlanta.
Okay.
I think I started off with like 4 ties or something. It felt very slow to me. I was never able to secure any games with it. And during my testing, I struggled the most against decks that play Monkey, and especially Gardevoir, because I find that my Pult never really one-hit KO any of the EXs, and the damage counters that I place will always be bounced back to me. And with these decks playing Clefairy, I learned to expect that my Pult will only survive 1 turn, and so I just personally, I struggle a lot. I'm sure Pult is a wonderful deck. I tried many variants of it. I'm just not very skilled at it. And so I felt like adding Charizard line in there was the answer to a lot of my struggles. Many times when I play against Gardevoir, I will just chase down the Gardevoir EX, hit it with Charizard and not leave a bunch of damage. And I also switched out the 2 Watchtower and added the 2 Jamming Tower. Well, my coach and I did. And so that helped me feel very comfortable against my most feared matchup, which was Gardevoir.
And that's interesting it's interesting you say that, because I don't know how you feel about this, Toni, but most of the community in North America, most players, because this was Team Rocket format, or sorry, Destined Rivals. I say Team Rocket because it's pretty much Team Rocket cards, but it was interesting because Destined Rivals was legal, and this was the first tournament and big tournament that Destined Rivals was legal. So Toni, did you feel like, or through your friends, was everyone kind of worried about the Grimmsnarl deck kind of roaming around, or the matchup? Were you worried about that, or?
Oh, for sure. I thought I was expecting to see a lot higher percentage of Grimmsnarl at the tournament. I think it ended up only being 13% on day 1, and something close to that on day 2. That was definitely the matchup I was expecting to see the most of.
Right, and then Catherine, and just hearing Catherine was more concerned about the Guardy matchup. Catherine was probably on the right track because, well, what won the tournament? Guardy. What had a lot more decks in Top Cut? Guardy. So Catherine was probably true to her information and her insight as far as knowing that Guardy was going to be a more popular deck. But of course, she had said that she was not really comfortable with that matchup, and Zard was the answer. So, in hindsight, it ended up being a lot better of her to prepare for Guardy. So, yeah, that's cool. And for that. So, and before you were playing this deck, Catherine, you were playing just straight Dragapult, right? With Neo Upper Energy, is that correct?
It was one of the variants that I tried out very, very briefly. The Neo Upper just kind of made me attack prematurely before my board was stable. So, I gave up on that pretty quickly. Went back to Slowpoke, learned how to play with it quite a bit. But I just love that Charizard is able to power up Dragapult. And so my attachment for turn can either go on Monkey or on Pult. It makes everything a lot faster. I don't feel like I'm always behind. I know I expect to be behind, but sometimes I can be ahead in certain matchups.
Right. Yeah. And so if you look at Catherine's list, so one big difference between Toni's and Catherine's is that Toni, for sure, both of these decks want to go second. But if you look at Toni's, if Toni can Itchy Pollen you, she will. But if Catherine, she doesn't have Itchy Pollen, but if Catherine, she runs 4 Arvin, so if she could Evo, she will, if she can. If she can, okay, she can Cleffa, right? But, so, very interesting to see that. I do like, Catherine, I do like that you have that one nest ball. In my list, if I could take it back, I would wish I could add the nest ball. I had it at one point, and then I took it out. But then I certainly did miss it because I would love to have gotten it for the Shaman or the Fez. Like Toni, the Shaman was kind of a dead card on my list because when I needed it, I couldn't get it. And then all those, I didn't play any Cardi players, but I couldn't leech off the Artisans because they knew better, right? So, so yeah. So looking at Catherine's list, nothing too fancy here, just kind of straight pulled in Zard. And pretty much, Catherine, in hindsight, would you make any changes to the deck, knowing what you know now in this tournament run, to make it more efficient, or for this tournament, if you could have made any changes?
Actually, not at all. I'm extremely happy with my 60. Every card has its use. Even Chi-Yu, I did not know how to use in the beginning and was just using as a discard fodder. It actually was my MVP for my first 2 or 3 rounds. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Chiyu just like melts Goldingos and like it's a good one prize. It's just a good one prize or retaliation to like and make them force them to have the gust and all that. So definitely. So yeah, okay, cool. So there you have it. We just showed both these two deck lists, and so for Toni and Catherine, and we're gonna go ahead and talk about their matchups, and we'll start with Toni first. We'll go day one for Toni, and then we'll go to day one for Catherine, and then day two for Toni, and day two. And we'll just kind of talk about some of the important matchups that they remember. I know, like Catherine told me earlier, after that tournament, everyone was kind of like maybe somewhat done with Pokemon, right? Take a break, but then now that things have settled and we're all back at home and relaxed, everything just kind of comes back to us as far as our matches. So we'll start with Toni on day one. Toni, on your day one, I have it in front of me. You, I guess, talk to us about your day one. Anything particular, round one that you remember that stood out to you? You played against the Typhlosion deck, so Grant, anything there that you remember that was kind of like...
I knew my friend played that a lot, so I knew that matchup was in my favor. I knew they just wanted to do, set up their Typhlosions. They really have a hard time one-shotting me. They really only have one way to do it. They have, they stay in if they run it. They have the tool if they had it. I don't believe he had, I believe he was running Unfair Stamp. And I think he had no way to one-shot me ever. So I was never really too worried about it. The only reason I lost game 2 was he just Badoo-locked me and I never set up. But for the most part, once I set up, I knew there was no way I was going to lose it. So I was never too worried about that matchup. The second round I played against a Spidops. That one was really weird. I just didn't expect it. It isn't expected. It wasn't a difficult matchup. I just didn't expect to play Spidops. I thought it was... Honestly, at first I thought it was Rocket Spidops. And then he evolved into regular Spidops, and I was like, is that right? I'm like, oh yeah, I guess that is right. And it was just, I guess early rounds you play kind of some weird decks. So that was just another... not too difficult of a matchup. Third round I finally played a real match. I played a Joltik box. I think I just knew the matchup better than my opponent. So I knew how to set it up better than my opponent did, so they were able to Iron Hands me, but I basically had a board state where they were never going to one-shot my Dragapult, and they were going to take the last prize or two they needed to win the game. So I think I lost game 2, won game 1, won game 3. Game 4, I had a really odd matchup against a Crustle. Never played that matchup in my life. The guys in the Brownsville area who play it. I didn't get to practice against them, unfortunately. So I kind of had to figure that one on the fly. I recognized that I needed the Dracloaks and the Monkey Dory to kind of do some attacking in there. So the Monkey Dory was doing some work. He ran a lot of Mist Energies, but obviously only get one attachment per turn. So he was having a hard time getting the Mist Energies while also energizing to attack. I was able to get a lot of damage counters spread with Dragapult, because again, without the Mist Energies, I can at least still put damage counters even though I can't hurt. So a lot of my early attacks were just stalling up a unenergized Crustle while I was putting damage counters out, and then late game, either Dracloak knocking it out. He got kind of greedy. He was letting me do a lot of damage because he felt pretty safe with the Lux Capes, and the Jamming Tower came in handy and kind of board wiped it in game 2. So that was really good. Round 5 and 6, very similar matchups. I can't remember specifically how they both went. I know it was Dragapult matchups. I think both those matchups were 2-0. Matchup 5, it was Dragapult Charizard. It wasn't anything crazy. I think I just pretty much set up faster than he did, and I think he did finally get it. When he finally got Charizards out there, it was too late, and I was pretty good about not taking early KOs, and I wasn't taking, I was basically never taking, I was never getting far enough in the prize lead to where the Charizard was ever a threat. So he was maybe getting Charizards out, but he was never doing anything with them. So that was kind of how I played that matchup. The Dragapult matchup, the round 6, that one was pretty fun because that one was on table 1, so it was being streamed locally. That was just a fun matchup because it was really nice having your friends cheer for you, so it's kind of really cool. It was a really cool experience having that happen. The actual match though, I know I won both games. He did set up both games. I honestly can't remember how those games went. They were kind of a blur. I just remember having kind of late games situations where we were both set up, and it kind of just Pretty much put him in checkmates near the end of both games. I think game 2 he just kind of scooped with like 4 prizes left because there was nothing he could do near the end of the game. And then round 7 and 8, my deck finally decided it wanted to break a couple times. So I think both those games I bricked once, and then I had one real game in each. And then that's kind of where the Shaman didn't come in handy. It just didn't really do enough, or I couldn't find it. So you're kind of falling too far behind. Your cloaks aren't living. So setting up is really slow. And this is where I could see the. I know a lot of people are running Neo Upper. I could see this Neo Upper would come in handy because you need a way to energize their cloak in one attack for one turn, and that's kind of where my lack of a Neo Upper was punishing me. Since I would get the cloaks up, but I had no way to keep the energized one alive. I had no Lux Cape. I had no Neo Upper, so it was just they were too slow to set up. And by the time I set up, I'd be down 6 prizes to 2, and there's just no way I can realistically come back and just And then round 9 I just tied because I just wanted to play day 2.
Oh, okay, yeah. So looking at your day 1 experience, you played some, I guess early rounds. You played some road decks, except for the Jota box, and then towards the end of day 1, you were going against Zard, pulled and nothing but bolts at the end. My question was against Zard and Pol. Was there any thought of a Briar play, being sneaky on you? Like, did you ever thought of that for a second? Like, oh man, this person could Briar me. Like, was there a board state that Briar could have been coming up against you, or no, not really, because you were so far ahead?
No, on the most part, I was pretty much playing the matchups like I need to end this game with a 4 to 6 prize turn because I just don't want to give him. I don't want to give the Charizard more damage. So right. I'm pretty much. I was more scared of them running Turos of anything.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Cool. All right, so that's pretty much day 1's experience for Tony's. We're gonna go and switch it up with Catherine's day 1 experience. So Catherine, I have your matchups here in front of me on the screen. Talk to us about your matchups. Pretty much, it seems like round 1 you went against Seth, and it seems like you went against a Spite Ups deck. Was this the Team Rocket one or just the good old Spite Ups?
Yes, so this was the team.
Okay, do you want to say that again? Sorry, it kind of broke up.
Oh, I say my opponent was very patient to allow me to read the cards.
Oh, okay.
A lot.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I wasn't too familiar with the
All right, we're having Catherine a little bit of mic trouble here. Okay, there she is. She's back with us.
Okay.
Sorry, we didn't get that part. Yeah, we can hear you. You're good. You can start over. It's okay. We just said that you couldn't read the cards, or you were reading the cards. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yes, I was reading the cards a lot.
Uh-huh.
He was attacking mainly with Spite Ups, and so I would just attack with Chiyu. I remember checking for prizes, and I was mainly checking my Charizard line, my Super Rod, my Energy, and Chiyu, and that was basically the strategy.
Oh, okay. Cool. Okay.
Yeah, I think in game 1 I never even got pulled set up. I maybe have Dracloaks for draws, but I don't think it ended up mattering that much.
Okay. Cool. And then you pretty much got a tool that deck pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
I think so. I don't remember exactly. I think all the games that I've won, I probably won the first, and then there wasn't enough time to play the second.
And Tony and Catherine, was the Spite Ups EX, right? Was that what I'm understanding? Or that you or
mine was the stage 1.
I'm sorry, Tony. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I played Spite Ups EX, but I think Catherine played a different deck.
Oh, okay. Cool. All right. So Catherine, talk to us about your round 2 matchup. It was against Jonathan. Pretty much the deck selection says other, so you can line us and tell us what you went against in that deck if you remember.
Yeah, he was playing a Crustle deck. So again, I attack with Chiyu, and by this time I was thinking maybe my deck should just be called a Chiyu deck. And Jonathan told me that he just wanted to have fun with his deck. He enjoyed playing the deck, and if you look at his record, he stuck out the all 8 rounds, you know, and I really admire that. Yeah, against that deck, initially I thought he bricked because he only just set up the puzzle, which can't be attacked by EX in the active, and nothing on the bench. But I had a lot of time to set up a Dragapult EX. I had Dracloak's power up, I had Dragapult, so every time he would try to bench a basic or a monkey on the bench, I would just hit it with counters. And yeah, it didn't feel too difficult to win that one.
Okay, so pretty much you just never let him get set up and just pretty much took the win after all that. So okay, and then pretty much round 3, played against Jeff, and that was a Archdaladon deck. Talk to us about that matchup.
I actually don't remember too much about this one. It was Arch with Gravity Mountain, but I did not see Arch the entire round. It was just Duraludon, and he later told me that he was trying to play a slow game. I guess I just took prizes earlier than he could set up.
Okay, I see. Cool. Okay, round 4, Ryan, Terrabox.
Terrabox, yes, he Torrential Palm both my Charmanders. I expected that. And Terrabox, they don't really have a lot of draw, so Stamp and trapping something usually is enough to buy me turn and get reset up. And then Chiyu is good against his Grass Pond. Yeah, that's basically my strategy. That's all I remember about it, really.
Oh, okay, cool. So pretty much a 2-0 there too as well?
I think it was probably I won the first one and then no time for second.
Oh, okay. Cool. And then round 5, you went against Agardi, your first real test with your build. How did that go?
With an actual deck, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt very comfortable in this one. Like I say, you know, my deck is basically teched against Gardy. I was feeling comfortable with the matchup. My opponent interrupts me sometimes, and that, you know, I think that's one of the things that I have to learn. He was asking me how many cards I have. He called judge on me, things like that. That you know, I had to kind of refocus. But because I have practiced a lot against this deck, I don't think it affected me that much in the end.
Okay. Right. So, okay, and then, well, I mean, you got the win off of Diego, so that's all that matters, right? So,
yeah, I just basically did what I'm supposed to do. I prioritized setting up my Charizard, you know, chase down his Gardy. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then, round 6, you played against a mirror, against Christopher Chan. I don't want to pronounce the first name, but yeah, and talk to us about that round 6. How did that go?
Yeah, Christopher was super friendly. This was at table 9 that was taken, and I was trying to be a fangirl for my friend. So when I saw that he was playing Potzart, I was actually feeling very comfortable, thinking that, oh, this is actually the first game that I don't have to read people's card, because I actually know how this deck works and the 60 cards. Game 1, I opened Fez. I attached energy for 3 turns straight, just attach Fez, pass. Henry Chow looked across at me with pity. I attached Fez, and then I Crow Arrow, one of his Dracloaks with energy, and he just responded with Charizard, you know, exactly 210 to my Fez, and it was over. It was the quickest game ever.
Okay.
Yeah, I basically bricked. Game 2, there was more back and forth, but I think very early on in the game, I reached for the deck. I tried to use an Ultra Ball after he Ichi-Pollen. And so, you know, a judge was involved and I got a 2 prize penalty for that. And so he basically took the prizes quicker than I could.
Okay. Well, okay. And then after round 6, round 7, we can actually say that this is our first talk about Grimmsnarl, the deck that Toni didn't play at all, and this is first, and the first deck that is legal for Destined Rivals for this format. So talk to us about that. You did win against Matthew, so talk to us about that matchup if you remember.
Yeah, Grimmsnarl is one of those decks that uses monkey very efficiently. So I had practice. I had done coaching sessions with my coach to practice against this deck. So I went in knowing the strategy, but there was also round 7, and mental exhaustion has set in, and it was getting harder and harder to keep track of the counters. Not just on my side, but also on my opponent's side. I remember that I have to keep checking damage counters, because sometimes, after monkey happens, the counters were not accurate, especially after Frostlass freezing. Is it called Freezing Shroud? Yeah. Yeah, but basically, the strategy was just to lead with Polt. The ideal turn is to KO his monkey, and in the active, and monkey on the bench, just chase down his monkeys, and then leave Grimmsnarl for Zard to deal with at the very end.
Oh, okay. And you took the win 2-0 or split, 1-1 or?
Yeah, this was a 2-0.
Oh, okay. Cool. So after that win, you're sitting at 6 wins there. And then this one, round 8, this one's a special one because, you pretty much went against the runner-up, Riley McKay, the Guardy player. So talk to us about that one.
I actually was not aware that Riley's Riley, who eventually will be the finalist at NAIC.
Right, yeah.
I also, at that point, learned that I probably have a chance to get enough points if I tie to go into day 2. Yeah, this is all new to me. But Ale demonstrated to me how to offer a tie. So I did exactly as what they told me. Sit down, Riley, would you like a tie? And Riley respectfully declined. And rightfully so. Yeah, so we played that game out. It was a very close one. We only have time for one game. The first game took 40 minutes, he told me later on. It was very close. I felt really good. I thought I was going to win game 1, actually. But on his turn, he researched into a Bravery Charm, and he was able to KO my Charizard in the active and took that game.
Okay. So it just came down to that pretty much, and then he took game 1, and then game 2, you played it out, but there was not... game 2, it went to turns, and I noticed that he just was not evolving his rolls at all. He kept his board 1 prizers, and there was no way I could take 6. Right.
So, yeah.
Right. So, all right, and then from there, you went with a Jotix box, Mason, and I'm assuming you asked him to tie, and he agreed.
Yes, I practiced how to offer a tie again, and he agreed. So, thankfully, I was able to finish the day and go out for late dinner. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Okay, so by that time, you definitely were feeling the fatigue, the mental fatigue, I'm sure, right? And as Toni said earlier.
Yes, absolutely. I started feeling that at the end of round 6 or 7, I believe. Like Toni said, in the last regionals, I have just dropped after 6 rounds or 7 rounds. But specifically for this one, Liam made me promise, whatever happens, don't drop. So I was trying really hard to keep that promise.
Ah, okay. Yeah. Well, that promise rewarded you well because, you made a day 2, so it worked out for you. So, Toni, before we go on to day 2, Toni, did you get a chance to eat? I know there was no lunch break. Did you get a chance, or did you snack on between the rounds?
I had brought a bunch of granola bars because at San Antonio I remember being very hungry during the tournament. So I remember this time to pack 4 or 5 granola bars, and I was just kind of eating those throughout the tournament. And then Ozzy shared some cookies and stuff with me, which was really nice of him as well.
Oh, Ozzy. Which Ozzy? Brownsville Ozzy or Ozzy?
Brownsville Ozzy MVP.
Ah, okay. Wow. Usually Toni, brief history, Toni usually likes to make and shares cookies, but now she got it paid forward by Ozzy, so.
Absolutely.
So
Thank you, Mom.
Yeah. How about you, Catherine? Did you get a chance to eat throughout the tournament, or not really? Didn't have a chance, or just kind of snack on in between when you could?
Yes, I did get to eat. I got to eat a hot, nice bowl of beef bulgogi rice. After I got dunked, I have a lot of time.
Okay. All right, so we're going to go ahead and go back to Toni, and we're going to talk about day 2. And at this point, you know, RGB was kind of hype, you know. From afar, you could see, I don't think Marco from Cascade, I don't think Marco, like, left these two ladies alone, you know, and I say that with all the love, because like once everyone knew the news, like Marco and the Brownsville crew and Toni's siblings and all that, and everyone who was friends were kind of excited. So it was a great moment for these two because everyone learned that they were pretty much practically the only RGB people. So it was cool to see that. So, but at this point, moving on to day 2, both these two players were just happy to be there. And in day 2, Toni, you played against round 10 against Joey, against a Cerulean deck, I'm sorry, or a Cerulean, yeah.
Yeah, Cerulean or something. I can't pronounce Pokemon either. Yeah, for that one, I think I won. I think I lost the coin toss. But I was able to kind of Badoo lock him to stall. I think it only stalled about 2 turns, but when this matchup, that's kind of all you need. I think I started attacking Dragapult, but he was only up 1 prize, and there's really no way he ever wins. I think he had to throw away Turo or something pretty early on, so I was like, oh, I'm never gonna get... I'm always gonna win this. There's nothing he can do to stop from winning this. He had a weird Reverum build, that's right. So game 1 I won honestly pretty cleanly. It might have been like 2 or 3 attacks, and the game was over. Game 2, he went second again, but I did not get to set up, unfortunately. I think I had a pretty slow game that game 2, so I initially lost it pretty fast. Game 3 was again a really slow game, but I was able to stall it out with Badoo. I basically recognized I was falling behind pretty fast. By the time he set up, I was falling pretty far behind, and I kind of recognized that he probably, he can only run 4 jet energies. He threw away Turos off an Ultra Ball very early. And Reverum has a 2 retreat cost, and I realized I made him waste all his jet energies. He can't win the game. So it came basically, he needed 2 prizes to win the game, had no jet energies. I was going to Badoo lock him, but then he made a misplay. He tried to blunder, and I think he blundered and pow patted in 1 turn, but he was under Badoo lock. So he got a gender involved, unfortunately, and he had a 2 prize penalty.
Oh, okay.
So I was gonna win through the Duloc, decking him out. I think he had like 3 cards left in deck, but since he gave me a 2 prize penalty, I just attacked with Dragapult. I finally set up a Dragapult, attacked, and won off knocking out Fez and Squawk, and I Dusknoir in 1 turn rather than trying to Duloc for like 4 more turns.
Yeah.
So I kind of lucky. Got a little lucky there. But I mean, I think I would have won through deck out regardless.
Right. So cool. And then you went against a EV box deck, pretty much, Benjamin.
Yeah, this one was probably my least fun match to play. Game 1, I could just never set up a Dragapult. The cards just weren't kind of coming in order I needed them to come in that matchup, and I was just kind of getting Angel Lighted or bossed their cloaks up. It was very hard to set up. I think by the time I set up a Dragapult, I kind of just knocked out his Clefairy, and was just like, alright, I think I knocked out a Clefairy on first stamp and was like, alright, please don't draw Stretcher. He gets Stretcher, so I lose game 1. Game 2 was really good, actually. He made a misplay that he got really heavily punished for. He had the choice of, he got set up very quickly. He had a Flareon with 2 energies, Sylveon with no energies, and he could have knocked out my Badoo with a Flareon, energized his Sylveon, and kind of been set up for the whole game. But he got a little greedy. He did it with he did knock me out with his Fan Rotom. Got instantly punished, got counter-captured the Sylveon, unfair stamp, knocked out his solo Hoot, and Sylveon stuck in the act up with no energy. He actually just scooped at that point because I guess the two or three cards he got were bad enough where he just scooped. He didn't bother playing it out. And the game 3, I didn't play the game. I think I just lost in 2 Fandor Automa attacks or whatever, and that was kind of it. I think it had Dreepy. I think it was like a Dreepy and Duskull, and that was kind of it. So, unfortunate.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So good games there, and then round 12, you went against the Mirror, pretty much against.
Yeah, he had Neo Upper. I think at this point I kind of recognized that most of the Dragapult decks are running New Upper. I think my day 1 Dragapult also ran the New Upper, so I was kind of expecting it this time. I think on day 1 it might have surprised me to see it for the first, like, to see him running it. Yeah, for this matchup, I did 2-0 him. I think I went second game 1, and that game was just pretty clean. You never set up. I kind of win. He did have a heavy Dusclops line. I remember that. Came in handy for game 2 for him. But I think I just I just kind of outmathed him. I kind of just recognized that I think he had Dusclops too much. He basically gave me, I needed 3 prizes to win the game, and he had a Fez in the field, and I think I won off 1 attack. I think I Dragapulted Kalucha and won off like 1 attack somewhere in there, like, and I thought it would do or something like that. So it was a pretty. He basically got too aggressive with the Dusclops and Dusknors to try to take out like my early Badoos and take out early like Dracokes I was trying to set up. So he just got too aggressive with it, and I was able to win off just 1 Dragapult attack late game.
Okay.
And so that one wasn't too bad.
And then last round, Poltzard.
Poltzard. At this point, I definitely felt the mental fatigue. I think at this point, like, it's been like 13 rounds. Just kind of like I could tell I wasn't thinking as clear as I should have been thinking. Game 1 was very, very, very close. I think it was one of the few matches I took an early lead in. I think I was up 2 prizes to 1. It came up to a point where I needed 1 more prize to win the game. I just needed to attack anything. And I got Badoo locked, unfortunately, in the game for 2 turns. As a play I kind of didn't expect. I didn't see it at the time. It was like counter capture Badoo. I probably should have left in the position where I wasn't going to get counter captured. But I kind of wasn't thinking. I kind of didn't see it. And basically, I got stalled out for 2 turns to the point where he kind of set up enough to where he could attack me and win the game. Game 2, I did win it. I kind of recognized that I think he was relying a lot on TM Evo. So I set up an early jamming tower, and I don't believe he had a stadium bump for me. I think he was only running jamming tower. So I set up an early jamming tower, and I just stayed there the whole game. And basically, I think like by turn 3 or something, he tried to Team Evo. And then he realized he couldn't Team Evo, and he was just like, oh, I scoop. And so we went to game 3. Game 3, I definitely should have won that game. We had gentleman agreement beforehand. So, because I think at that point, if we drew, we were both going to get the same pricing. But if one of us won, they were going to get a box or something. So we had gentleman agreement before the match started. And it ended up coming down to time, so we were going to tie. And I mean, I wasn't going to argue too much, but he did have a better board state. He had a better board state, but he would have had a hard time kind of just getting the win. And I think, of course, you're always going to think you win it. I could see my path to victory a little easier than he could, but his board state was definitely more set up. He had like a Charizard and a Dragapult set up. I think I had one Dragapult that was maybe going to get knocked out if it got attacked one more time, but I had a Dragapult like I could set up in the back. So I don't know. It was a complicated matchup. We weren't that far into the match, like really see who was going to win the game, but he had a better board state, so I did give it to him. And yeah, that's kind of how that one went.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and those of you that are kind of new to the scene, gentleman's agreement is pretty much when time is called. Instead of having, it's more beneficial to have a winner than a tie because, especially in the late rounds, because a tie only gets you 1 point, but a winner, usually there's more incentive, especially in day 2 for prizing in top 64 and whatnot. So what Toni did was they both checked for board state, and apparently the opponent of Toni was much set up better. And of course, and those are kind of tricky because, you always have the what ifs, like, well, I could always hand shove you and then do this and do that, right? But Toni was kind of being a good sport and recognizing, like, okay, well, you know what, like, you have a better board than me, and she didn't have to. She could have just said, we tie. But then nobody benefits from that. So it's cool to see that Tony honored the gentleman's agreement. Sometimes people don't honor it; they agree to it, but then like when they're on the losing side, they kind of backpedal and they're like, "No, never mind." And so those are always kind of just. I mean, they have every right to do that, but then it's just kind of frowned upon. Like, why do it in the beginning? So yeah. So cool. So Tony doing the day 2 thing, and this was your first day 2, right, Tony? At all? Okay, cool.
Correct. That's my first day 2. So
Cool.
it's pretty exciting.
Cool. All right. So Catherine, we're gonna switch it to Catherine. Catherine, talk to us about your day 2 matchups. Round 10, you went against another Guardy, against Jeremy. Talk to us about that.
I always feel very comfortable playing against Guardy, so I took game 1, similar strategy, just chase down the Gardevoir EX with Charizard. Jeremy was one of the most honest opponents that I have played against. I remember thanking him at the end of the round. For game 2, he chose second, but from the corner of my eyes, I kind of saw him drew first. So I just kind of asked him to confirm, and he said, yeah, I did draw first, even though he chose second. So he called judge on himself, and he told the judge that he saw the card. I didn't see all that. I just kind of saw that he probably drew first. And so unfortunately, he got a 2 prize penalty for that, and I took game 2 as well. So yeah, I thanked him for being honest, and I told him that at the end of game 1, when I bossed for game, I immediately used boss and just used the card. I did not waste time like using all the recons on my bench either. So I just appreciate a very honest game of Pokemon, because that's all I know how to do.
Okay, cool. So, and then round 11, you went against a Raging Bolt against Alexander. Talk to us about that.
Game 1, I just got donked. I attached 3P pass. He started Squawk. He drew into Rotom and Stadium, and so Fan Rotom just knocked my lone 3P. Game 2, I think my Chiyu was priced. He set up multiple Ogre-Pons, and he just dealt with my Charizard for weakness.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's kind of interesting. I mean, I didn't really check all the lists, but I guess when you recognize, as a Raging Bolt, when you recognize you only have one basic, they're going to play Squawk. When I tested Raging Bolt, I didn't have a Squawk in that list because, I play more defensive, but it's interesting. But I see why he squawked, because he was looking for the donk, pretty much. Okay, and round 12, you went against Pierce Blend. That was a straight Dragapult. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, I lost to Pierce. Pierce is an extremely experienced player. He told me he's been playing 19 years. He said he was very nervous. He's like 2 wins away from making a world invite. So
wow.
I think in the end he made world invite. So congratulations to Pierce. He played Pult with Bidoo, slow Pult. Game 1, Bidoo really slowed me down. I had very few basic and no supporter. And I remember finally my board was stable, but I had no guts. I had to attack into his Bidoo, and the moment I did it, it just felt really bad. I kind of knew that, kind of knew that I lost that one. I probably should be more patient. He was a more patient player, a more skilled and more experienced player than I am. I think I just took 2 losses, in round 12.
Oh, okay. And then 13, you went against a Joe Tick box. Talk to us about that. You tied. But...
Yes, game 1, he amped me twice for 4 prizes. I always expect that from Joe Tick box, but I think I stamped him into a research, so he was able to take the last 2. It's just, I was just too far behind. Game 2, I had Rare Candy in hand, so I evolved my Drippy in the active. So he never really got to amp me until maybe later on when he had boss. And I remember just chasing down his support Pokemon, going around his Iron Hands with Charm, and I won that one, but we ran out of time, so we didn't get to play the 3rd round.
All right, and then at that point, I'm sure you're just relieved. Okay, it's over. Like no more. What time did day 2 finish, Tony? Do you remember what time that finished? Was it the afternoon?
It was like around 2:30.
2:30. And at that point, you're like, could I play any more Pokemon after this?
Pretty much. I think I did play Cyberman afterwards, actually.
Oh, wow. Okay. How about you, Catherine? When you were done, were you just relieved? You're like, okay, this was too much Pokemon for one or 2 days.
Yeah, I was very relieved. My daughter Fifi was supposed to arrive at New Orleans airport at 11 a.m. And, in between rounds, I was just checking on her flights. But eventually she got delayed and she arrived at 8 p.m. that night.
Oh,
So I had a little, it was a long day for her. But that gave me some time to just get all Pokemon things out of my head and go for a nice lunch with my friends. And I think I met up with a bunch of McCallum friends, and I told them I think I need a break from Pokemon for a few months, and they're like, yeah, right, see you at Kaboom next week with a pet.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, so that's cool. All right, so there you have it, everybody. You heard 2 great Pokemon players in the RGV talk about their matchups and their experiences, and so for that we're thankful for having them here. So with that being said, we'll kind of just wrap things up. As far as the future and whatnot, I guess I'll just ask one of them at a time, but for the community out there, if you have anything to say or add, what tips do you have for anybody that wants to be, especially what you've gone through and what you've seen and what you practice for? If you have anything to say out there to somebody that wants to improve, what would you tell them? We'll start with Tony. Tony, if there's anything you would like to say as far as getting better or improving, what would that be in your opinion?
I would say just kind of learn what your opponent wants to do. That's probably more important. Just as important what you want to do in your matchup. So just learn what your opponent's decks are trying to do, and make sure you're playing around that. I would say kind of think about your opponent more than you probably do. Don't just play your game.
Okay, cool. That's very good tip, especially knowing the deck you're going against. So yeah. How about you, Catherine? If there's anything you want to add on Tony? Or piggyback on Tony, if you had any tips or advice to anyone out there that wants to improve on this game, what would you say, or what advice would you offer to anyone out there?
Just keep playing, keep practicing. We have a very friendly community with a lot of great players that you can learn from. Just do that. Watch stream games, watch Azul's analysis. There's so much Pokemon content on YouTube that you can learn from.
Wow, I'm not gonna lie, it's the first time I've heard Catherine say Azul in front of me. So, I mean, of course, I knew she would knew that, right? But I never heard that before, so that's kind of neat. So Catherine is informed. So that's cool. All right, everybody. Well, we're gonna wrap it up here. I thank Tony and Catherine for being here with us, and and we're looking forward to the next season. If we're talking about having a break, I mean, not really, because I already been planning with all the everyone else for July and the cups and all that, so it pretty much starts over again. I know Worlds is in August, but those Worlds invites are only for the top players that got an invite, and so the new season starts already in July, so stay tuned for that, and make sure you check the Pokemon Play locator. I know there's going to be some changes. One change is going to be, I think Pokemon is going to go the app route, so instead of these trainers giving us their player ID, I know they're going to be asking them to download an app now, a player's app, and their ID will be there, and we'll get to just scan it instead, which makes it a lot easier. Me personally, I already know most of the players, so I'll just type it in unless it's somebody from out of town, so I would prefer to scan it. But there's going to be some new changes, so we're looking forward to that. I want to thank Toni and Catherine for being here today. Tony, any last words you want to say out there? Go ahead.
Thanks for having me, Kevin. It was really fun talking to you.
No problem. Catherine, anything you want to add out there?
Just thank you so much for having me.
No problem. All right, so this is KG from Jaw 7. Have a wonderful night, everybody, and we'll see y'all later.